So this is the third time in the last couple of weeks that I've come out to this market, and it's the third time that I've had this sour fermented pork salad. And I think the lady who you just saw making this, I think she started to trust me because she made this fucking spicy. This is the first time I think she's given me the real version of this. But yeah, the nice thing is at least we have some raw egg ice cream to cool down the palate after one of these bites. So
this is Thailand. It's a place of mystery and magic. The ancient kingdom of Siam, never colonized. A world unto itself of bright colors and bold flavors. Of palm trees and wild elephants. Beautiful people and old Buddhist temples. I'll admit that even though I live here, I still find myself in awe sometimes. I've lived around the world cooking and opening restaurants. And wherever I've gone, I've tried to learn the language, understand the culture, assimilate as well as I can. But here, I don't even know if I want to. It's a place that's even better for its aura of exotic impossibility. Thailand. What is this place? How is it the way it is? Is that a fucking ceramic charcoal oven? Okay, never mind any of that stuff. We gotta go eat.
So Thai Food 101. If you're overseas in the West or in America or anywhere else basically outside of Thailand and you go to a Thai restaurant, you pretty much know what to expect. You get your green curry and your masaman curry and your som tam papaya salad and tom yum soup and maybe the tom kha coconut soup and some mango sticky rice. But in Thailand, that's not how it works because those are all dishes that come from completely different regions, and having all those together in one restaurant in Thailand would be like a Southern soul food restaurant in America that also served Chicago-style deep dish pizza and California fish tacos. The way it works in Thailand is essentially you have to look at this country as 5 completely separate regions with their own culinary influences and their completely different local dishes. As far as I can figure out, these are the 5 totally unique culinary regions in Thailand. Here in Bangkok, in central Thailand, where there's a lot of Chinese immigrants, you see a massive amount of Chinese influence. Stir-fries like pad kapow or braised meats and noodle soups. In the northwest, there's this region in the mountains along the Burmese border with highland food like rich stews and soybeans. Down in the south, you see the influence from India, up through Malaysia and Indonesia. This is where the most famous Thai curries come from, along with some stuff that has some Muslim influence, like rotis. In the southeast, along the coast next to Cambodia, that's all about the seafood, and it's sort of a mix between the stir-fries of Bangkok and the curries of the south. But if there's no such thing as a Thai restaurant in Thailand, and everything is regional, then where does the average Thai person eat? Is there a Thai equivalent of something like a hamburger in America or pizza in Italy, which maybe started out as regional dishes, but by now are just completely ubiquitous? And for that, the answer is in the last region of Thai food, which is here in the far northeast of the country, in that amazing part of the world where there's southern China, northern Vietnam, Laos, and the region in Thailand that's known as Isaan. The classic Isaan meal, grilled chicken, som tam, and sticky rice, is unofficially the national meal of Thailand. And this is a really good Isaan restaurant.
Today, we took a trip to the other side of the Chao Phraya River to Talad Phlu, the home of one of Thailand's most famous food markets. I'm usually skeptical of night markets in the middle of major cities. Often you'll get a lot of photogenic stuff, but at best you're talking about C-plus food intended to be shoveled out cheap and fast to tourists and out-of-towners. But Bangkok's a strange place. It's cut in half by the river, but almost everything any of us have heard of in this city is on the eastern side. The west is completely off the grid. I know people, foreigners and Thais who've lived in Bangkok for decades and never once set foot onto the west side of the Chao Phraya. There be monsters here. The west side of the river doesn't have a Khao San Road. It doesn't have famous palaces or late-night party streets or World Top 100 fine dining restaurants. But what it does have is a lot of old neighborhoods built along canals packed with clusters of immigrants and old Thai families. And here, when you tell me there's a food market, I'm there, no questions asked. One of the reasons why I wanted to start this video with a quick introduction of the food regions in Thailand is because when you see markets like this, it's interesting to take note of what kind of food is actually sold. Like obviously at the massive places in the city center, you'll get a broad range of crowd pleasers. But anywhere else, you can guess who the local people are and where they came from based on the food that's served. And here, there's a heavy dose of Chinese Thai. And that, it turns out, is for good reason. At the back of the market along the canal, we found a restaurant called Tek Heng Jeen Lee. If you want to know the history of this market, start here. This place has been serving customers for almost 140 years.
The Chinese were some of the first immigrants to settle in Thailand and bring their own culinary traditions here. China is a country that I know very well. I lived there for almost 11 years. However, if you look at Chinese food in China and then Thai Chinese food, it's clearly evolved some unique characteristics. And the restaurant where we are right now is the oldest surviving Thai Chinese restaurant in the country. And it's one of the oldest restaurants in this region. And it's the last surviving relic of the first Chinese settlement overseas in Thailand. And I'm very happy to be joined by one of the members of that family that originally opened this restaurant in when? The 1880s, I believe.
ร้านหมี่กรอบสมัยร.5 นะครับก่อตั้งขึ้นมาตั้งแต่ในช่วงรัชกาลที่ 5 นะครับหมี่กรอบตรงนี้หมี่กรอบสมัยร.5 นะครับอากงของผมเนี่ยจะผัดอยู่แต่ริมน้ำเป็นเพิงเป็นกระต๊อบเล็กๆนะครับเป็นกระต๊อบเล็กๆแล้วก็เวลาผัดจะมีกลิ่นหอมมากนะครับท่านรัชกาลที่ 5 ก็เสด็จมาทางน้ำตรงคลองตรงนี้นะครับแล้วก็ทรงได้กลิ่นแล้วก็เรียกให้ทหารมาเอาไปให้เสวยพอท่านได้เสวยเสร็จแล้วก็ทรงชอบใจมากนะครับแล้วก็ให้ชื่อหมี่กรอบตัวนี้ว่าหมี่กรอบเสวยสวรรค์นะครับครับผมก็อากงของผมนะครับได้เข้าไปทำในวังมาแล้วตั้งแต่วันนั้นจนถึงวันนี้ก็ร้านเนี้ยก่อตั้งขึ้นมา140 กว่าปีแล้วครับผม
It's so much fun to come to places like this where it's almost like a time capsule and I can actually try the food here and then think about maybe some coastal regions in southern China and you can compare the dishes and maybe this even gives you a better approximation of what the food was like in southern China in the 1870s and 1880s than what you find today, because obviously in China the food has continued to develop and change over the years. But this restaurant has stayed very similar since the early days. So the mee krab, which is the signature dish here, is man, it's so good. Jasper, who's our cameraman and director, he just said this ruined him on mee krab forever because it's so much better than the typical style that you'll find on the street. It's got a sweetness that I wasn't really prepared for. That if I had to guess, and I don't know for sure, but I think that's tamarind in there. There's a little bit of that fruity, sweet, tart tamarind taste that you have in a whole lot of Thai food, and that would make sense, I guess, contextually for how this would have evolved from the original Chinese form. And yeah, man, that's just really good. You can taste the soy and the little bit of sweet chili and the radish and everything else that's in there. That's just awesome.
Talad Phlu Night Market is divided into several sections cut into quadrants by train tracks and a highway overpass. At the heart of the market, there's the Thai-Chinese stuff like mussel omelets and braised meat soups. But then push out a little further and you see the signs of more recent migration, things like Muslim rotis from the far south. But sometimes if you look hard enough, you can actually learn the history of an entire culture just by walking through a market. This is an imperial Thai snack from the central part of the country. It's called Khanom, and it's delicious, a crispy pancake folded into a taco and stuffed with coconut meringue and salted egg.
And this is also Khanom. But we've been talking about how the same foods might have changed forms or evolved on different sides of international borders. Why talk about it when we can show you? And we just showed you the Thai style of Khanom, the crispy pancakes. This is what that dish looks like on the Vietnamese side of Southeast Asia. The same dish over a few generations in Vietnam has evolved into something bigger and some might say better. Either way, this is just awesome.
So how long did it take for Khanom to work its way up through the north of Thailand, across into Vietnam, and then come back in its superhero form? Well, this place has been serving their snacks for 5 generations, and this specific street cart has sold this dish on this corner at this market for 75 years. Food is constantly changing and evolving, but sometimes these changes can be measured in centuries. Talad Phlu Night Market is a living museum. Along with the mee krab and the Khanom Bueang, there's loads of other stuff that tells a story. Like this. It's an old Isaan dish that dates back to the days when meat was pickled or fermented to keep it fresh. It's a salad, in the same way that a quadruple bacon cheeseburger is a sandwich. It's sour fermented pork smashed in a bowl or a mortar and pestle with onions, fresh lime, palm sugar, lots of chili, and a crispy deep-fried ball of red curry and rice, and it's eaten by hand wrapped up in wild betel leaves. There's a lot happening here. It is not a mild flavor. The market at Talad Phlu is a breathtaking spectacle. The food game is strong out here. On this side of the river, away from the bustle of downtown, you see the true melting pot of Bangkok, and it tastes awesome.
So street markets in Thailand, or literally anywhere in Asia, are about more than just getting some food and taking it with you and going home. They're community meeting points. They're the centers of an entire way of life. And in Bangkok, in a place like Talad Phlu, which is one of the oldest neighborhoods surviving in the city, and the oldest immigrant center in Bangkok, this market is much more than, again, just a place only about the food. It's a place where you see families meeting up after a few days apart, where you see young people on dates, where you see old friends in conversations with each other. And one of those communal meeting points in this market is this place where we are right now, which is Nam Kaeng Sai. And it's famous for its homemade coconut ice cream. And the way that they serve it here, their specialty, is with salted egg and with raw egg, in which they take the yolk and they put it on top of the ice cream and let it sit for a minute before they serve it, so that the raw egg yolk freezes on top of the ice cream. I'm not 100% sure that it's going to be a great idea for Adam to mix the raw egg and salted egg ice cream with the sour fermented pork salad, but you know, these are risks we take in this business.
It had been a long day of eating. And anyway, it's a universal rule that when you combine sour fermented pork with raw egg ice cream, you should probably put the brakes on. Every time I come to this side of the river, I go home feeling that familiar sense of wonder. It doesn't matter how long I'm here, it's Thailand, and it'll always be surprising and unfamiliar and inspiring. I'll never fully wrap my head around this place. But I guess that's what we all hope for when we go overseas, either to live or just to travel. We hope to find that trigger that inspires us and pushes the boundaries of what we think we know, and makes us want to learn and grow and keep our eyes open to this amazing world around us. And anyway, whenever you do have that longing for something comfortable and familiar, there's always a neighborhood beer bar serving a good IPA. Subscribe for more from OTR.